Hello and welcome to Rise and Unwind. I want to thank you for tuning in and checking out the show. If you actually want to be on the show, go to our website. That's riseunwindtv.com. And what's happening on today's show? Well, we got this.
I'm constantly getting to learn things as the host of the show.
He's a bad guy that also knows sign language. That's really cool.
All of that and more right here on Rise and Unwind. Did you know symptoms like dry mouth or bleeding gums could also be tied to menopause? Many women don't realize those changes are connected to oral health. A new survey from Delta Dental highlights the need for more awareness and support. So joining me is Sarah Chavarria, CEO of Delta Dental Insurance Company, to talk about what women can do and how dentists can help. Welcome to the show, Sarah. How are you?
Thank you. I'm well. Thank you for having me.
All right. So we hear a lot about, I guess the cliche is hot flashes, but not about teeth and gums. How do menopause show up in the mouth, like dry mouth, bleeding gums, sensitivity?
So when women go through perimenopause, menopause, we have hormonal changes, that drop in estrogen. It also reduces saliva in the mouth. And so, even though 83% of women are not drawing that link between their mouth and menopause, about 40% are feeling dry mouth, and about a quarter of those same women report that bleeding gums, noticing changes in their taste, how their teeth look, even indicators of tooth decay. And so there's absolutely a connection between what we're going through when we go through perimenopause and menopause and our oral health.
So where do dentists fit in? What can they do to support overall health during menopause?
Dentists are in a perfect position. We go to the dentist twice a year. We know that 27 million Americans go to the dentist twice a year, but forego their visit to their primary care physician. So they're perfectly situated to have that woman come in for her oral health visit and really start the conversation about either the symptoms the woman is experiencing, the fact that they're going through menopause, and helping them appreciate what they might experience as they navigate that time. So it's a critical place, and we like to invite people to reimagine that trip to the dentist from a cleaning to a preventative health visit, to an oral health visit, because you're interacting with a healthcare provider, and you should feel free to bring your questions and bring, everything that you need to make sure you get answers and information there.
And my notes say that some women hesitate to bring this up in the chair. Why is it important to talk about menopause at a dental visit? And what should that conversation kind of sound like?
Well, it's interesting because women are uncomfortable bringing it up, and about half of providers also said, well, we wouldn't bring it up unless the patient does, right? So there's the gap. That's what we have to close, is how do we build confidence on both sides to do that? We think it's so important at Delta Dental that we've actually taken our 3 years of menopause work and turned it into a women's dental benefit that we're going to launch next year, because we think if a woman walks in with a benefit that adds a cleaning and adds some experiences, and a dentist sees them coming, that will even help that conversation take place. And so we think it's critically important. We know that oral health can point to lots of other things like cardiovascular disease. You can identify diabetes, early cancer. So it's a really important healthcare checkup.
And as awareness grows, what changes would you like to see from offices, benefits, or standard care?
Well, I think the role that we play, so when you think of an insurance company, we guide care, right? So we're the ones who say, hey, here's how often you should go, and here's a wonderful network of dentists to go to. And so I think us making changes is a real testament to our belief that there is this link, and that the more we can get women into the dental chair, the more they're going to be taking care of their overall health. So I feel like we're trying to do our part as the insurance piece. And then look, we have 80,000 providers in our network and 200,000 providers that we interact with on a regular basis. And we have a lot of ways to connect with them and really understand from them, like, how can we support them? What are they hearing? Are they feeling good about having these women come into their offices and facilitating these conversations? And so we feel like we're really uniquely positioned with the relationships we have with dentists, the fact that we drive insurance with our patients. Look, we take care of 31 million people. So we take all of that information in and we're looking for where are the channels, avenues, information, and things that we can do, and what's the role we can play just to close that gap and get folks in that chair talking about the right things.
So what can women do right now to protect their oral health, maybe even at home and between cleanings?
This one's really easy. So drink a lot of water. That reduced saliva means hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. It's really good for you anyway, and it's really good for your mouth. Make sure you're brushing twice a day. Make sure you floss, and go to your dental visits. Go at least twice, and make sure you're prepared when you get there. You know what you want to cover, and share any healthcare changes that you're going through. That helps the dentist take better care of you.
All right, so where can our viewers go to learn more or check for their benefits?
Sure. Go to DDINS, so Delta Dental Insurance, ddins.co/menopause. We've put years of research, creations, and stuff there to hopefully be a one-stop shop for you.
Sarah, thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
All right, quick reality check. Nobody loves salary talk, but we do want to get paid what we're worth. Today, Dawn Fay, Operational President at Robert Half, is here with the 2026 Salary Guide. So what's changing, what's negotiable, and how to think about total compensation. Dawn, welcome to the show. How are you, my friend?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
All right, big picture. What are the top takeaways from the 2026 Salary Guide?
Well, there are three clear trends this year. First, total compensation is taking center stage in the job market. Second, workers are willing to negotiate. An unprecedented 88% feel confident negotiating their compensation packages. And third, employers need in-demand skills, and 84% are willing to pay to land that talent.
All right. You mentioned total compensation. What goes into that, and why does it matter as much as base pay?
So total compensation is more than just pay. It includes bonuses, perks and benefits, flexible work options, and learning and development opportunities. And that's really important right now for employees. That is what they are looking for. It's not just about a base salary. So in order for employers to land top talent, they need to come to the table with strong total compensation packages.
And but given how competitive things are, when should a job seeker negotiate pay, if at all?
They should, but they should be prepared to do so. It's really important for people to understand what their skills are worth in today's marketplace. Our salary guide is a great resource for people to understand that. And they can negotiate more than just the base salary. They can negotiate on all of those items in the total compensation package. They can talk about flexible work options, learning and development, perks and benefits. So it's important for people to be prepared and think about all of those things within the compensation package.
All right, beyond salary, what perks or benefits are driving decisions right now?
Well, no surprise, flexibility remains the most important for employees right now. But in addition to that, they're really looking to have their skills enhanced. So they want to be with organizations that can offer them learning and training opportunities, particularly in areas such as AI and machine learning.
And we've also heard higher pay can bring people back on site. What are you seeing, and how should candidates weigh that total trade-off?
Our research shows that 66% of professionals would return to the office full-time if the pay was right. Most are looking for an increase at a minimum of 10% to get back to the office full-time. That's to compensate for time and commuting costs.
And for people who want to learn more or have questions about their own salary, where should they go?
Well, they could give us a call, and they can visit us at roberthalf.com.
Dawn Fay, I want to thank you for joining me today.
Thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Do you ever wonder what it takes to spark the next generation of scientists and innovators? The Emmy-nominated series Mission Unstoppable is back for its 7th season on CBS, shining a spotlight on women breaking barriers in STEM, from space exploration to oceanography and beyond. Joining us are executive producers Miranda Cosgrove and Nicole to share what's new this season and why representation in science and technology matters more than ever. Welcome to the show, you two. How are you?
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for having us.
All right, Miranda, what can fans expect in this brand new season of Mission Unstoppable?
There's a lot going on in our brand new 7th season, but I would say one of my favorite things is we follow a high school robotics team as they create this awesome robot, and then they actually take it and compete against other schools with it. So I just think that's super cool. I would have loved to have been a part of something like that in high school. And we also have one of our correspondents go to the University of Wisconsin to learn the science behind making cheese. So I think that one's pretty fun too, but you just never know what's going to come next on this show.
That's what's so fun, right? Whether it's robotics or cheese. And my favorite episode this upcoming season is actually about a pro soccer team. So we all love sports, and learning about the science behind what keeps the team on the field is a really, really fun episode this year. We follow Dallas Trinity FC and what we call the team behind the team. So you get to learn about all the things that it takes. So that's one of the things that I'm most excited about next season.
And after 7 seasons and more than like 260 stories, is there a particular moment or guest that just has stuck with you?
There are so many. I loved getting to learn about sleep paralysis because that's something I've actually experienced before, and I didn't know it existed until we did a segment on it. And I'm constantly getting to learn things as the host of the show, and also just meeting all these incredible women in STEM. A good example would be Kat Echezarreta. She's the first Mexican-born woman to ever go to space, and she's around my age, and getting to meet her, I was just so inspired by her. So yeah, just getting to be a part of something like this, you're inspired all the time.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many amazing stories. I always say that's like asking me who my favorite kid is. You should never say that publicly, so because you get in trouble for that. For me, I think it's like every day, because we have over 1.5 million followers on social at CBS Unstoppable. We get to hear from people every day. So there's stories about how they watched an episode and they didn't know that they could go into STEM and sports. They were passionate about music and they had an opportunity. They always wanted to be an astronaut. I feel like we're able to communicate with our viewers on such a daily basis and hear about the things that are inspiring them. We've had kids go to college and change their majors. And so, for us, it's about if you can see it, you can be it. And so for me, it's just about every one of those moments that is connecting with some kid somewhere that may grow up and cure cancer one day.
So how do you feel the show does encourage young women and girls to imagine themselves in STEM careers?
Well, like I said, I think if you can see it, you can be it, right? So I think that all kids everywhere, our effort with the show is to make sure that, every kid sees something that they can connect with, whether it's the city that we're filming in, whether it's the job, whether it's, like I said, whether you're interested in tech or sports or music or entertainment, or like I said, you want to go to the moon one day. We hope that you see somebody or something that you're interested in and you're able to connect with, and then you want to learn more about that, right? So we're trying to, I think, create curiosity in kids. So that's really the whole goal of the show.
Why is it so important for young audiences to actually see people represented in these fields on screen?
Well, when I was a kid, I didn't have a show like this. So when I was first approached with the idea just for the very first season, I was so excited to get to be a part of something like this and be a part of bringing it to children. And I get to see firsthand kids come up to me all the time and they tell me they watch the show with their families on Saturday mornings, and that, oh, I saw that woman that creates makeup that's a chemist, and now I want to do something like that. And it's just, I feel like the show does a very good job of showing a range of all different kinds of people and just so many incredible women. And I hope a kid out there sees an episode and maybe changes their future.
So where can families go to learn more about the show and some of the work that the philanthropies are doing to inspire the next generation?
Yeah, well, a couple things you can watch on CBS on Saturday mornings, so please do that. You can watch us on all of our social channels, particularly on YouTube, CBS Unstoppable. And If Then She Can is the initiative that's behind the show. So we hope that you'll join the 1.5 million other followers that we have that are so excited about the show, and tell your friends and family. And we hope everybody comes and has a great time with watching the episodes this season.
I want to thank you for joining me today. Catch Mission Unstoppable Saturday mornings on CBS. You'll meet some incredible women making discoveries, solving problems, and proving that the future of STEM is unstoppable. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you so much. It was nice to meet you.
You ever feel your heart race for no reason? It's like sprinting while you're standing still. September is AFib Awareness Month, and a new study estimates more than 10.5 million Americans are living with atrial fibrillation, a condition that can raise the risk of stroke and heart failure if it's not managed. Joining me is Dr. Dedric Clark, a cardiac electrophysiologist, to break down what AFib is and why early treatment matters, and for the latest options to help people feel better and live safer. Welcome, Dr. Clark. How are you?
Good morning to you, and thank you for the opportunity to discuss such an important topic.
All right, let's start simple. What is atrial fibrillation and how common is it, and why do I struggle saying the word all the time?
Well, I can help you with two of the three. So let's just start off with what is atrial fibrillation. Atrial fibrillation, or AFib, which is okay to say it just like that, is a cardiac arrhythmia. And what an arrhythmia is, basically, is when the electrical system of the heart is beating abnormally. Now, normally the upper chamber of your heart and then the lower chamber typically beat at a rate of 60 to 90 beats per minute when we're at rest. When a person flips into AFib, spontaneously the upper chamber is now beating 300 to 500 beats per minute, very chaotically. Now, as you alluded to, atrial fibrillation is the most common arrhythmia in the United States. It is the most common arrhythmia in the world. Over 10 million people in the United States are affected by atrial fibrillation. And it is estimated that in the next decade, that number can increase by up to 32%. 1 in 4 adults over the age of 40 will be impacted by atrial fibrillation at some point in their lifetime.
So why is early diagnosis and treatment so important for people with AFib?
So that's a great question. The reason is that atrial fibrillation is a progressive disease. Let me just talk real briefly about the symptoms of atrial fibrillation. Some of the symptoms of atrial fibrillation are fatigue, lightheadedness, dizziness, anxiety feeling. I feel my heart racing. I get short of breath when I exert myself. And some patients say that I feel like I'm just slowing down. Well, when left untreated, those symptoms will only propagate in advance, making it more difficult to reverse. Also, if left untreated, there are other clinical conditions that are very severe. Untreated atrial fibrillation is affiliated with a 5 times higher risk of heart failure, a 2.4 times higher risk of stroke, and a 2 times higher risk of sudden cardiac death, and it's associated with higher risk of developing early dementia as well. So it is critical that detection, diagnosis, and treatment is implemented for all of our patients.
And what are today's treatment options? Like, walk us through some of the medications, lifestyle changes, and when procedures like catheter ablation comes into the picture.
Perfect. And so typically when somebody is diagnosed with atrial fibrillation, depending on their risk profile, they're put on a blood thinner and a medication to either control the rate, and sometimes we put them on medication to try to control the rhythm. Those are called antiarrhythmics. Now, for some patients who either cannot tolerate those medications, or there are side effects of the medications, or for some patients, unfortunately, even though they may tolerate the medication, their atrial fibrillation can progress in spite of that. There's a procedure called catheter ablation. Now, what a catheter ablation is a minimally invasive, safe, effective procedure in which the procedure is designed to isolate the electrical triggers that is triggering atrial fibrillation in the heart from the normal conduction system of the heart. And when performed, it allows the normal system to maintain what's called a normal rhythm, like we would all like to have. The procedure is typically done as an outpatient. And I would say that although all procedures have a risk affiliated with it, the risk is very low. I'm an electrophysiologist, and our patients and your listeners should be comfortable talking with their primary physicians to discuss if catheter ablation is the right option for them.
And for anyone that wants to learn more or get next steps, where should they go?
So Johnson & Johnson is providing comprehensive patient resources to discuss all the things about atrial fibrillation. There's also a website called Get Smart About AFib. That's all one word, getsmartaboutafib.com. And on that website, not only can you get more information, you can also take a survey to see if you are a candidate for catheter ablation and be put in touch with a local electrophysiologist to discuss if catheter ablation is a good procedure for you.
Dr. Clark, thanks for joining me this morning.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate the opportunity.
Netflix's new limited series, Black Rabbit, is already making waves, set in the high-stakes world of New York City nightlife, and it follows two brothers whose bond is tested by ambitious, family, and danger. The cast features Jason Bateman, Jude Law, and Academy Award-winning Troy Kotsur. Joining us are Troy Kotsur, who plays Joe Mancuso, and Forrest Weber, who plays Junior. Welcome to the show, you two. How are you?
Good. Thank you for having us. Appreciate it.
All right, for viewers that are just discovering it, what is Black Rabbit all about?
Black Rabbit is a really exciting, thrilling show that is going to drop on Netflix on the 18th with Jason Bateman and Jude Law leading the way. They play estranged brothers at the beginning of the show who are running a nightclub and restaurant called the Black Rabbit. And when Jason Bateman's character shows up into town after being MIA for a few years, he brings a lot of trouble with him, and Troy and I are some of that trouble.
And the show is set in New York's nightlife scene. What makes the backdrop such a powerful setting for the story?
Well, you know, New York's a place where so much happens underground, and you have a black market. It's not what you see, but it's what people don't see. You have to really look beneath the surface and between the lines when you're going through the story. So it's so nice to show that underworld and what's really going on deep inside the underbelly of New York. And my character has his office in a Russian bathhouse basement. And I'm pretty tall. I'm 6'1". I really had to duck down and go into that Russian bathhouse. That's just one example of the secret hidden corridors in New York City that we show.
And Forrest, what stood out to you most about your character, Junior?
Junior was fascinating. He's a fascinating human being because Junior couldn't be, I think, more different than I am, but everything about Junior, I could find truth in. I could find something relatable, right? So he is very much a product of his environment, and he's struggling really the whole time with trying to gain acceptance from his father over here, who, you know, runs a tight ship. And it was really exciting to be able to, step outside, you know, my norm a little more. I've been on a bad guy streak, played, you know, 3 or 4 in a row here, but Junior got to amp it up another level and provide us with some really unexpected, hot-tempered, rash decisions that sent the plot into some interesting places. I'll say that.
And what's great about Junior, if I may chime in, is he's a bad guy that also knows sign language. That's really cool.
And Troy, what drew you to playing Joe Mancuso in the series?
Well, the bottom line is so many actors enjoy playing the bad guy or the villain. And, you know, you really didn't have the opportunity to see too many villains who happen to be deaf. Yeah. And so it's really nice to see that on screen. Is what is that experience like? You know, and to be on that journey of that villain's journey and how he runs his underworld business, which is really fascinating. But you know, most of us know that in the deaf community, we do have a history of some deaf criminals and folks involved in the black market. But I tried to imagine what it would be like to run this business. And I really wanted to give audiences and give them the opportunity to see this deaf villain in Black Rabbit.
And Troy, you and I, we hung out a couple years ago, right before CODA, your big win on CODA. And here's a little picture of us. There it is.
You know, when you met me, I'm still the same person. I'm not a bad guy, just to be clear. Let's separate my real life from my character.
I think that night I had one too many drinks, so look how excited I am there.
Well, maybe I became angry that night. You know, maybe it was because of you.
That could be it. That's what happened. Working alongside Jason Bateman and Jude Law, what moments really stuck out with you guys?
I'll say being able to learn from them on set on a day-to-day basis was an absolute treat. They both operate at such a high level, but what was really special about them was how open and collaborative that they were. And to a newcomer like me, they were like, "Come sit at the table, trust yourself. You know, we trust you." So being given that level of freedom from A-listers like that is the treat of a lifetime, and I can't sing their praises enough.
Hey, I want to thank you too for joining me this morning. Black Rabbit is now streaming on Netflix. Check it out.
Thank you. Have
you ever wondered what it's really like inside a plural marriage? TLC's hit series Seeking Sister Wife is back with new stories and familiar faces, exploring the ups and downs of polygamous relationships. One of those families is the Davises. Nick, April, and Jennifer are not only preparing to welcome another baby girl, but are also exploring the possibility of adding a longtime family friend as a potential sister wife. Welcome to the show, Nick, April, and Jennifer. How are you?
Hi, doing well, thank you.
Hi, thanks for having us.
All right, for those that are kind of new to the show, Can you share a little bit about your journey as a family and kind of what led you to this plural marriage?
Just this unconventional lifestyle is just something that's always appealed to me for quite a while. And thankfully, at whatever point I met April, she kind of fell into it also. She noticed the benefits and recognized it as being something that she wanted to do also. And so we've just been steadily just building together, working on our family. We met Jennifer. Jennifer came along and she was with it too. So the three of us have been together for about 8 years now.
And this season highlights your friendship with Teresa. What made now the right time to explore whether she could be part of your family in a deeper way?
Yes, so this season you will see us courting Teresa. She's been friends with us for over 10 years. And honestly, it was the kind of thing where she approached Jenny and I. She knows that the women in our relationship do the initial seeking. And she made it very known to us that she has feelings for Nick and would like the opportunity to be able to date us and potentially become our sister wife. And so after some correspondence, we decided to go on a date.
And Nick, the show touches on your struggle moving from like best friend to husband. How are you working through that transition?
Oh, wow. It's not easy for me because just the way that I operate in life, I don't like mixing things up. I don't like mixing relationships. So I keep my boundaries very strict. So the time that Teresa has spent as my friend, she's just strictly been my friend, all the way platonic. So to try to move things over now after having so long where her and I were just buddies, if you will, it's definitely something that's not easy for me.
And with the new baby on the way, how does growing your family both add joy and maybe some challenges to this plural lifestyle?
Adding our baby Charlie has definitely, of course, been so overjoying to us. But also, it adds maybe another level of potential complication to adding a potential sister wife. That person is going to need to be okay with, young children and, a newborn in the house. So we want to make sure whoever's coming in is the most comfortable with that and, wants that sort of family lifestyle.
What do you hope viewers take away from your story this season, whether they agree with your choices or not?
Honestly, I think that the biggest thing is that you can have a happy and healthy relationship without it being society's traditionals type of norms. We do things completely different. We even do things a lot of times different than a lot of other polygamous families, and that's okay. And we want to show that you can do things differently and you're happy and have a good family home.
I'm not in any way trying to promote the idea that all men should be polygamous, but you should definitely seek to create the kind of life that you want for yourself. Absolutely.
And do the towels say his and hers and hers?
We definitely should get those. Absolutely.
All right, you three. You can follow the Davis family journey and meet the other families with the new season of Seeking Sister Wife, now playing on TLC. I want to thank you three for joining me this morning.
Thank you, Dan.
Thank you.
And that's it for Rise Unwind. I want to thank you for tuning in and checking out the show. If you actually want to be on the show, go to our website, riseunwindtv.com. Fill out the form, send it on in, and maybe you could be on a future episode. Follow us on social media. We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram. And if you want to check out our YouTube channel, that's at Rise Unwind. And until next week, that was Rise Unwind.